What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Around the Metaverse, our weekly show where we bring together some of the best content creators from the blockchain and NFT gaming community, talk about all the recent news, and give you guys everything you need to know to stay up to date. My name's Adam. I'll be your host today, but we've got all the OGs here today, man. Welcome back, everyone. We got CryptoStache in the house. How's it going, my friend?
Doing it, Monday. I mean, we're always here Monday, so it's good.
Yeah.
I had a great weekend,
man.
I had a great weekend.
Zuljin, man, how's it going? Happy to have you here.
I'm basking in the glory of all that is crypto today.
Oh yeah, you know it, baby. Cagy, man, what's up? Bringing the juice.
Cagy, always a juice, always a juice. Thank you for having me, guys.
I heard you're reformed, man. I heard you're reformed.
I'm reformed. We'll talk all about that.
and last but certainly not least, man, Jake, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing really good. Just had a trip to California for a cousin's wedding and like a 18-hour day, but now I've had 2 sleeps on me, so I'm back to normal.
Hey man, the NFT grind never stops. We don't sleep is for when we've all got CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and we're chilling. We're chilling.
Sleep is for the stock market.
Yeah.
Sleep is for the stock market.
Shots fired. Yeah. Suck it.
Bitches.
All right. We got a great show for you guys today. But before we dive into things, everyone watching out there, go ahead and smash that like button. And don't forget to hit subscribe. I actually noticed a lot of you guys out there, I think over 50% of the channel isn't subscribed. So go ahead and smash that subscribe. It helps us promote our content and, bring all this great alpha to more people out there. And when you pump your bags, everyone's bags get pumped. So you got to promote, man. Do it for us. Do it for you.
I mean, they call it like rising tide raises all ships. I like that cliche better than just like pump my bags, Stache.
Yeah, all right, man. We got a great show. We're going to be talking about celebrity whales getting into the NFT space. NFT mass adoption may be happening right before our eyes. And a few changes to the Axie breeding mechanic that maybe might save SLP from a terrible grave. So let's dive into things, man. We got the first story here: celebrity NFT whales. I don't know if you guys saw the news recently, but our very own, or Stache's very own, West Coast Snoop Dogg revealed himself to be the big NFT anon whale Cosmo Medici. It actually turns out Snoop Dogg has a very vast collection of NFTs worth over 16 or $17 million, including things from like the High Club collection, which is a bunch of like NFT joints, which is pretty typical for our friend Snoop Dogg. He's got some art blocks, some CryptoPunks, and some me-bits that make him a pretty sizable whale in the NFT community. And I wanted to ask your guys' opinion, man. He actually also has a sandbox drop coming out, which in my opinion looks pretty good. But we see a lot of celebrities coming into the NFT space and kind of putting out projects that maybe aren't necessarily as quality as they should be, or things like that. I want to get your opinion. Do you guys think Snoop Dogg is going to be active in the NFT space, say in like 10 years? What's your thoughts, Stache? Or Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, let me start here, because I think the Snoop Dogg is actually a lot smarter than most people give him credit for. And the fact that he has already been an anonymous investor in the space means that he's not just your average celebrity who's coming in here, knows nothing about it, might just have like 1 or 2 friends or 1 or 2 advisors that's like, yeah, you need to do this. And now they're getting into it and like throwing their weight around with actually no real understanding of how it all works. I don't think Snoop Dogg is one of these situations. I think that he's educated himself on the NFT space. He's been investing in it for a while. And I think that he's gonna make some good moves. And I think the sandbox thing is gonna be a hit, especially if he does some concerts and stuff in here. Sandbox is really high quality. Like this is good. This is I think this is one of those good celebrity endorsements that's going to have a long-term impact on the NFT crypto space.
Yeah, man. I think I'm not saying anything bad about Snoop Dogg. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there may or may not be other celebrities out there that have done some cash grabbing.
Oh, 100. Stuff. Yeah, for sure.
100%. Yeah, go ahead.
What's your opinion, Cagy? What do you think? You think Snoop's going to be around in 10 years?
I think, yeah, I agree. I think I agree with everything that Jake said. This guy is not your average, celebrity or whatever the fuck. I mean, to even choose the sandbox, right? and have that vision, the sandbox is a place to be at. I think every single project and every single celebrity that actually wants something to do with, in the future in the metaverse, just to have their name in the sandbox. It's almost like going to a mall and having Gucci, it doesn't matter if you sell, it doesn't matter if you have an experience, just having your name there means a lot. It's like promo, right? I would even say even Axie Infinity itself should have a place in the sandbox just to have their name there, right? Even Blancos should have one, even if they don't build like a super experience, just kind of like we're there, right? Type of thing. So I think Snoop Dogg made the right choice there, and he's a gamer, man. Have you seen him live on Twitch? That's all he does these days: games and smokes weed, and sometimes drops some music and shit. So.
Yeah, man. Every celebrity is gonna retire from their normal career and just be an NFT celebrity from now on, because that's where it's at, man. What about you, Stache? What do you think, man? You're from the West Coast. You live right down the street from him, man. Do you think are you gonna be partying in the Snoop's sandbox metaverse up in his Voxel mansion?
I am 100% going to be there. I was lucky enough to snag one of those limited edition Snoop Dogg Access NFTs for the sandbox, which was cool, man. They kind of just dropped that real hot, and I think that I agree with Cagy and Jake about it. Sandbox being a great choice. He's definitely stepped it up with that, and coming out as being this anonymous account, I'm still a little sketch on it. Not saying that I don't feel like he could pull it off, but I still feel like maybe it wasn't really him, or maybe it was him in conjunction with somebody else, working it at the same time. I don't know. But in general, let's not forget about his first drop on crypto.com. Those NFTs sucked hardcore. And so I remember when I saw him, I was so disappointed. I was like, Snoop,
I actually forgot about that.
How long ago was that? How long ago was that, CryptoStache?
That was probably about 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago, something like that. So it was the beginning of this year, and I was just like, you know what? I like, him coming in was like cool, and but you partnered with crypto.com, like one of the worst platforms out there. I mean, come on, man. These guys are already scammers. Don't associate your name with them early on like this. It's just gonna be bad all around.
This stream is sponsored by Crypto.com.
Yeah, this stream is sponsored by Crypto.com.
Wait, hold up. They have did you see so now we got all those ads, right, coming in. I see crypto ads on my phone now. And Crypto.com's got this like Lazy Lions ripoff that they're peddling now.
They're horrible. It's a horrible exchange. What they're doing behind the scenes is just not. It doesn't work, man. But so anyways, I just wanted to make sure we forget about that first Snoop Dogg drop. I think partnering with Sandbox is as good as it really gets. Having access NFTs like what they did, I think it totally makes sense. That's way more interesting to me than some of the stuff that they're going to be selling with the land sale, which is going to be like you get land around there. The premium lands get Snoop Dogg characters, some of his cars, things like that. And that's cool. But having the access, man, I mean that right there, I think is huge. That's one of those things that really boosts up an NFT. So like I said, if Snoop Dogg thought about that on his own and that was his original idea, that's awesome. I think someone at that level, a lot of times have people kind of ghost writing for them.
They definitely have advisors, right?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So was Snoop the one that was posting all the time on this this anonymous account? Maybe not. Was he making all the purchases and I don't know. So I feel like there's still a lot to be kind of contested maybe there, but I'm super excited about it. I want to see Snoop, more involved in the scene. And I think that he is one of those people who will stick around versus some of these other, we've seen so many celebrity NFTs come and go. I told you I lost a bunch of money on them damn Grimes NFTs. Now she's divorcing Elon. They should definitely go up in value, I think, now, but they'll probably go down. They're like, oh, that bitch ain't with Elon no more. Screw her.
In 10 years, maybe.
She's the SpaceX now.
Right, exactly. But Lindsay Lohan NFTs, there's all these horrible B and D list celebrities that just you know what I'm saying? And so they've come and gone, and even we talked about Jake Paul, man, that dude is a scammer as well. I talked about him last week on the thing, he got caught basically modifying these Adobe stock images, saying that they were wholly original. These are our original things, man. And I'm like, how could anyone believe that? You think they went and shot these photos out in the wild? Come on, man.
I think it's fucking hilarious that it just keeps happening with Jake Paul, right?
Dude,
Jake Paul, much love, man. Come to my channel.
No love for Jake Paul. This guy, he's scamming people. He's scamming his followers. He's scamming his followers out of millions of dollars, man. And so I don't know. I hate to see that with celebrity NFTs, and I think we see it too much, man.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, a lot of people are in the NFT space solely to benefit themselves. They have no desire to actually make the world a better place or actually benefit the people who look up to them. And I think that comes across from different creators. Like there's some creators, there's some celebrities who I think really do have a heart and compassion for others beyond themselves. And then there's some people that are just solely focused on themselves. Now, don't get me wrong, everyone like needs to be able to make some kind of money. And I think everyone has to secure the bag. But after you've secured some kind of bag, like, or how are you even securing your bags? Like, are you securing your bags on projects that are going to leave those that you're shilling to, like, in a good spot 5-10 years from now, or at least a good chance of that? Or are you just like
cash grab,
shilling every project or selling really bad NFTs that you know aren't even yours? Like there's a good way and a bad way to do this. You can be on the light side or the dark side of the force and help yourself on both sides of the force, but one side is good for the world and one side is you don't give a crap about anyone else.
You gotta be one with the fourth force, man. And Zuljin, I want to hear from you, man.
So how do you determine that, though? Like, how do you determine what's good and what's not? Using your own experience to do something like I shield projects, you know, that
So, I mean, I try to be honest that, like, I can be wrong, definitely, about the assessment that I have on a project. But one thing that I do before I even allow someone to make me an offer of like how much they're willing to pay me is I look into the project. I look at the team that's behind the project. I try to see, like, have they had successes in the past? What have they built before? What is their game plan and credibility here? And if it's something that personally I think has a good chance of actually succeeding long-term, being supported long-term, then I feel really comfortable supporting it, like sharing it with my subscribers. But most deals, I literally reject the deal before we even get talking about money, because I don't want that to be what affects my decision-making on whether or not it's a good thing to promote. So I try to like look at it fundamentally. Is this something I would invest my own money in? Like that's kind of what determines whether or not it's worth talking to my subscribers about it. Like if I'll put my own money in it because I believe in it enough, like I could be wrong, but at least I believe in it enough, I'll put my own money in it, then I'm down to promote it. But if it's something I'm not going to put my own money in, then I'm not going to share it with my subscribers.
I'll follow that same creed, but I don't think about long-term. Sometimes I identify it as a short-term play and I just do it. And I invest personally into them too. Some projects that you try to do based on whatever you know, a lot of people follow too. Like they just without any sort of, they ape into whatever you ape into just because you talk about it. And I feel like there's a market for both of them. Plus, who's going to advertise for the little guys? How do these projects ever get hype? How do they ever get to the point to where Snoop Dogg wants to talk about them or rep them? You know,
I agree. I agree.
It's a lot of these really good projects. Like I grade based on hype. But at the same time, I've recently seen some really good projects that, in my opinion, that had a lot of hype just completely fall apart, you know? And some things, I mean, we've seen the ugliest pixelated frogs on the internet, you know, grant millions of ETH. You know, it's like you don't really understand what you're going to get into. But at the same time, I think Snoop Dogg has a little bit of that. If he first did the crypto.com NFT and he failed, he probably got a lot of negative feedback on it. He said, okay, we got to reassess what we're doing. Probably hired some people that knew what they were doing, instead behind the lines and kind of supervised the operation as he learned more, started to learn more about what his taste and how it reflected in successful projects. And then if he had anything to do with this, it feels like it's an interesting article from the little bit I've read, you know, so that would bring him a lot of credibility. And from here on out, if this is a boosting point, people might forget about the whole crypto.com thing. Maybe he is a player in the NFT space from now on.
I forgot about the crypto.com thing, man.
I'm not gonna let none of you guys forget. Never forget.
I never knew about it.
I didn't hear about it.
I mean, it wasn't to be probably because it just really didn't go a lot. You know, it didn't really go that far. I mean, they dropped them. It was kind of like, you know, like the art could have been better. There wasn't really anything cool or unique attached to them.
No utility.
It was kind of swept underneath the rug.
Don't really have good utility. Although the Twitter thing's going to add utility. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, all right. Let's get into it, man. That's perfect. That's our next topic, man. So I don't know if you guys out there heard. You probably have. There's a rumor going around the metaverse right now that Jack is doing some more evil science in the back end of Twitter's, And we might have some Ethereum backend integration with Twitter soon that will allow users to verify their NFTs as their profile pictures with like a blue check mark, for example, to on their profile. And I think this is a big deal, guys. I mean, I think right now we're starting to see not only in normal crypto, but in NFTs, the start of true mass adoption, and the metaverse, which we talk about all the time, is starting to take shape. Do you think that this is a big deal? I mean, I want to know your thoughts, man. Zuljin, what's your thoughts, man? Or Cagy, go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to jump into this one right away. Look, the first time I saw this was in Ivan on Tech's channel, right? Back in 2020. Back in 2020, August 2020, October 2020, he dropped an NFT, and you could right away connect it to his live stream on his website, and you're verified right away. And that clicked right away for me. I was like, okay, if you could do that, right, then you could do it for Discord, right? And then you got Colorblind now. And then on Discord, I'm like, bro, like you could do it for the profile picture and verify that. Of course, somebody can drop a fake NFT of a Subduck or a Cyberkong and create their own contract. But if you know the contract, the original one, then you could verify. So it's up to the user to kind of like verify that that's a real contract, unless Twitter or Discord kind of does the vetting and says, no, this is
like
a contract.
Whitelist, yeah.
Right, a whitelist. So that would be amazing if that's the case. But it also expands into YouTube. It could happen into YouTube, like what's happening in Theta Network, right? But if they do it on YouTube, bro, YouTube, that's it. It's never going down. And Twitter, what it's doing with this is actually establishing themselves for the next 20 years. That's what they're doing.
It's going to make a huge impact.
Yeah, that's what really they're doing right there. Establishing themselves.
You find a lot of these social networks follow suit too. Look at TikTok going to Instagram Reels and then eventually to YouTube Shorts. You're gonna follow suit with all of these things. It's gonna take one thing like that, like Twitter doing this, to get really, really strong, and then other social media platforms to pick it up. And that's going to strengthen the NFT environment in general. But a little while back, I saw a little TikTok about Gary Vee saying something, and a lot of what the whole NFT space is about is having that digital online identity and people following through with that. And really it's valuable, because the way Gary said it, he was like something like, well, I would argue that a blue check mark is more important than showing something off in your home. Like, nobody knows what you own, like physical things. You know, keeping up with the Joneses has been something that is an old saying that everybody wants to get what their neighbors got or whatever. But in the digital landscape, it's even more prevalent, especially if you're looking for clout, and especially as influencers or people that have their own blog post, or even just a Facebook post that they want, that they share something. If you have a blog and you can verify that you're the original person, how many times have you been talked to about having something on Discord, or is this the real Zuljin?
Oh yeah,
because I see you on Twitter. Is this you? You know, I get that often, and it's not just because we have online personalities. It's the fact that our entity, our digital identity is different across those platforms, and anything that helps us verify that in the long run, I think is going to play a lot in cybersecurity in general, and especially in the NFT space.
Well, this is going to give the NFT naysayers something less to talk about too, because it gives NFTs more credibility. Like, a blue check mark is something that like normies understand, you know what I mean? And like, what's one of the biggest complaints when it comes to NFTs? What's one of the biggest complaints when it comes to NFTs besides I could just take this picture and download it and paste it, right? Yeah. But when Twitter says, oh, this dude has the picture, here's the blue check mark, this is a centralized authority, you know, you have your opinion about that. But when there is a centralized authority that has clout like Twitter saying this is the NFT, it's verified, I think that goes to dispel some of that. I could just, you know, download this and it's mine now, you know?
What about security verification too? Like being able to distribute an NFT that shows your association to an organization. What if that's the FBI? What if that's the CIA? Any of those things that can all be very, very relevant in just being able to see right offhand that that's the real thing, you know? And that you shouldn't, you know. How many times have you ever gotten junk mail saying, is this really AT&T that says I have a bill that's due, you know?
I feel like Stache might have a different opinion here, to be honest.
Okay.
He's a decentralized guy, you know.
I mean, so I honestly don't think that Twitter bringing in this functionality in general is going to really do anything but pump the bros that are circle jerking their PFPs on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Because it's something that's it's small, man. It's not a huge movement. It's not something that I could really see everyone in the entire world wanting to do, in particular because these things are expensive for the most case. You look at this shit, man. How many people are going to go through and be buying these profile avatars that are super expensive and then even care to like go through a process to get them verified or whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? Connecting your accounts, and then essentially the more you do that with these accounts and connect them to third-party centralized services, the easier it's going to be for them to track you, to understand where your assets are at, what you're doing with them, where they're going. That in general is not that appealing to me. I mean, I'm personally, I'm not the one who goes around and changes my avatar every time a new fucking project comes out, and I'm like, oh, a new thing, I'm throwing my avatar. I just keep mine the same. I go against the tide, man. I still like the project.
You're taking shots at us.
I'm taking shots at each one of you suckers. No, I mean, that's to say, hey, I don't have anything necessarily wrong with it. I'm just saying I do me, and you guys and other people do themselves, and that's cool. I like, I look too good, man, to be able to replace this face and this mustache with some generic little JPEG, man. As much as I like them, as expensive as they may be, I don't need to go flaunting around my assets and things I own by putting it up there and like, hey, I'm gonna pump these back too. Like I said, I'm not against it. Just personally, it's not something that I'm gonna be doing.
Yeah.
Now,
let me push back against that a
little.
little.
Hold on. Before I go, I got one more point to make.
Okay.
So I do think though, I think that it's a good step in the right direction in seeing these larger companies take note of this and want to create services around NFTs as access, as verification of things. I do like that fact. I just don't think that it's going to be something that the majority of people on Twitter are ever going to do. It's going to be something that's going to be very focused on our small, tiny little community, which is a drop in the bucket when you talk about all the people on Twitter.
Okay. But here's the thing. The community might be small right now, but it's changes like this that are going to cause it to continue growing.
It will, but not to a mass.
Ever's a strong word.
No, we're in the early stages right now, I think, of a real S-curve adoption. And what happens is as the barriers to entry start falling away, and it starts to become easier and easier, more consumer-faced, more and more people start like using NFTs and that sort of thing without even possibly even knowing they're using NFTs. But the S-curve adoption is going, and we've seen it time and time and again. It just starts shooting straight up after it actually is easy to use. And like the iPhone replaced the normal phone in like 2 years. We saw like back in the, I think the 1900s or 1800s, we saw horses, which were like the predominant form of transportation for over 1,000 years, get replaced by automobiles in like 12, 14 years. And it's that same S-curve adoption of as the barriers of entry start falling away, more and more people start getting in. So I personally, I don't do the NFTs as my profile picture on Twitter, but I think this is massive.
No, see, and so I'm not talking just about NFTs in general, bro. I'm right there with you about adoption of NFTs in general, S-curve adopt, and like how they're really going to be the mainstream. I mean, that's why I've been here. I've been here doing it and talking a bit about it since 2017 about NFTs, about gaming, because I do believe that. I've always believed that. I'm just talking about this particular trend of using these, high-end avatars as your profile pic and like having functions around them that are, it's very specific. Even in NFTs, not everybody does it. Even everyone who owns an NFT that uses an NFT for a game or is collecting them or whatever,
what is this going to turn into? Like when, if you think about like a Ready Player One style metaverse where like a huge percentage of the population is participating in, because it might include like hundreds of games or thousands of games, like I could see 100 years from now or 150 years from now, almost everyone has their avatar as their profile. And this Twitter verification has turned into something very, very valuable that like proves that on Twitter, you are the same person that you are in the metaverse.
I mean, yeah, but you really have you have to have like a more universally adopted system. And so when you have a very centralized service like Twitter that is closed, kind of, I wouldn't say closed-minded, but it's a closed sandbox type of situation. You until they open those things up to be used across multiple platforms, it's never going to go anywhere but outside of Twitter.
But there's
always think that'll be like an interoperability thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would have to be, but they don't. Yeah. I mean, still right now, like Twitter doesn't. There's no real interoperability between Twitter and Facebook.
The
Like
only thing that
you could have
matters
have
is
some
Bitcoin.
cross posting stuff, but like they're not
Everything
using
else
verification OAuth
is
from
centralized.
one to the other. That's why you have these separate systems, and you can't it's everyone wants to be able to, because it's essentially another way for control. They want to have their own system, and they put that into play, and you have to use it if you want those services.
Like when you're using Twitter, it's like, you're on Twitter. It's a centralized service, and the future is going to be a mix between centralized services and decentralized services.
Yeah.
The important thing is Twitter doesn't actually own your NFT, and even though they verify your NFT on their website, you still have full ownership of your NFT. And if you want to use another platform, verify your NFT on another decentralized platform, you can do that as well. But like some people are still going to be using Twitter. So that's why like the future of the metaverse, there's going to be centralized and decentralized aspects of it.
I agree.
And the important thing is that you have real ownership. And if someone wants to verify that you really own something that you really own, then I think that's a good step in the right direction.
It is, but what I'm saying is that it's still going to be relegated to just that one ecosystem. What we really want is we want something that
is growing.
Right, but what I'm saying is that even as the ecosystem grows, it's still only going to be on Twitter. So that verification system is only going to work there. It's only going to be applicable there.
Yeah.
And so unless you can tie into that somehow, then it's not going to be usable across a bunch of different metaverses in a Ready Player One style.
Until after Twitter does this, do you think it's going to be before Mark Zuckerberg goes and says, "Oh, we're going to copy that"? Because like that's what he does.
That could be. But then once again, it'd still be closed. It'd still be a closed circuit and all these different things. I can't wait until it's there's something becomes so big that that's essentially what the Ready Player One thing is. This company Oasis became it's like they became the internet, right? And as a company versus it being a fully open type of protocol to be able to work on, and everyone has to be there, and so that makes it a lot easier to create a standard that you then force everybody who wants to be in that thing to use.
Isn't Jack creating a decentralized version of Twitter as well?
Well, there's lots of them, yeah. So, but you could akin this, you could akin this to like HTTP as a markup. That was like not always around. If you guys don't know, as an internet standard, HTTP, the hypertext translating protocol, it wasn't always there. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that eventually we got to, and it became a standard that everybody used and had to agree on using. And so these industry standards are what really leads the way in things moving forward. That's what exploded everything on Ethereum. Is they got to a point where they created an ERC20 standard, and that exploded the space. And then same thing. How did NFTs explode too? ERC 721 standard. It's a standard the industry can go by that everybody can use that makes it easy. When we have that for NFTs for verification and for looking at anything for profiles for games for moving the information across different games, across different metaverses, or across different centralized platforms like social media platforms, that is when we'll have something. This is the precursor, but I don't think that it's really going to turn into that. I think it's going to be it'll be its own small little thing that will be somewhat useful for a small amount of people. It may help with driving a little bit of adoption, but most of the time it's really like, who's going to see that and think like, oh man, that's awesome? Only people that are in our space. It's not going to mean anything to anybody who's not getting into it. And just seeing a little blue check mark on a graphic, that if you don't know what that is, you're not going to care.
To be verified, like people are going to be buying NFTs.
I mean, Twitter verified for sure, because they know what that means.
Verification on Twitter.
The Twitter verification, people know it there. If you're on Twitter, you know what that blue check mark means. But if you have a special one that goes over your avatar and it's like, what is this? Maybe they're curious.
Imagine you can hover over it. Shows the value of the NFT.
That would be cool, actually. That'd be cool. Like $2 million.
It depends on how they
what
roll
the
it
hell?
out. Like, imagine if they roll it out in a certain way where they do bring enough utility to make it something that people want to go out of their way to do.
Yeah, like
what if it's customized and you can actually display
different
different attributes of it too? Like you could say your portfolio value altogether.
Yeah,
I feel like Twitter is gonna integrate something like OpenSea right on Twitter, a swap right on Twitter. Everything. They're gonna go full power on that shit later on, little by little. I mean, they have the whole liquidity of
P2P marketplace on Twitter through Ethereum.
Honestly, Instagram may come with the first.
Right there, bam, 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 bam.
Instagram might come with the first, man. It's because of the platform and how it is. I'm not saying I like Instagram. I'm just saying like there's been a little talk about that. So when you talk about Facebook versus Twitter and what they're doing and how they're competing, I mean, obviously we know Facebook is already interested in developing cryptocurrency and integrating into the platform. So it may be that they take that opportunity and integrate NFTs into Instagram.
Clubhouse.
It could
Clubhouse or nothing.
Clubhouse for nothing. I'm not a big fan of Clubhouse, but
I'm looking at these,
it's not really relevant compared to talking about the other ones either. It's
hey, but NFT New York only does on Clubhouse.
yeah.
I'm like, what
there's
the
a
fuck
there's a lot going on in Clubhouse that just is not on other platforms, but it's not my favorite. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm looking at this old Snoop Dogg drop. Since you were throwing a lot of shade at it. No, dude, it actually doesn't look that bad.
In 3 years.
He made an original NFT song for this. And like a portion of the proceeds he used to support emerging artists and his youth football league. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Like I'm looking at some of this art. It's like kind of cool. Like there's one where he's like on death row on an electric chair, and
that was the only good one. That was like there was the only good one was that one. There was a real good. That was like one piece that was like, okay, that's cool, you know. But I don't know. It's just I wasn't a fan of Crypto.com.
And I'm looking at these like I don't know how many of these are actually selling, but a lot of people have these NFTs for sale for over $100,000.
But you know, Stache,
who's buying them?
At the end of the day, everything's gonna be centralized, man. Everything, just as long as you hold Bitcoin, you're good. Everything else is centralized. All this L2s, that's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Yeah. It's all centralized.
Ethereum.
All right, wait. So I think we beat this. I think we beat this one to this Twitter NFT verification like to it's dead. We beat it like a dead horse.
All right.
Let's move on.
We're moving on.
Buy Bitcoin.
Stache is over us freaking out about being able to verify the PFPs. But all right, the next topic, guys, we're going to be talking about some changes that just happened to the Axie ecosystem that might bring SLP back from the grave. We all know SLP's kind of taken a hit recently and has been on a significant downtrend for some time now. But the breeding mechanics just changed where you need to burn more SLP to breed more Axies comparative to before. And hopefully it's going to rebalance out the supply dynamic of SLP. Cagy, I know you're the foremost expert here on Axie Infinity. What do you think, man? Do you think that this is gonna bring it back?
I think we all experts here. We're all experts in that. It's a very simple economy. Those tweaks that they make, of course, they make a difference over time. But at the end of the day, it's a very, very simple economy, and those are like just patches. At the end of the day, you need to be able to do many, many things in a game so that people are engaged. If there's only one, I call it a one-trick economy, right now. It's a one-trick economy. If people are not breeding, then it doesn't work. And, I don't really care about the prices. I already knew this. I've been telling people, forget about the SLP, right? If you're not using it, change it for AXS, right? That's the real value of the whole ecosystem for Axie. And people, SLP to $1. The only way SLP goes to $1 is by tweaking, right, the output of the people playing. If it's less, then obviously the price is going to rise because breeders are buying from you and there's less supply. And those tweaks are just patches. That's like the real economy, in United States or whatever, fiat, right? You just tweak. So it's like, that's a patch for me. Hot fix, basically.
Yeah, I think the price that it went to, like 35 cents, like that was pretty unsustainable. And I think it was driven not by real demand in the economy. It was driven by people like Cagy was talking to who were just buying it as an investment. Like, I'm going to buy this thing with infinite supply that anyone can create just by playing the game because I think it's going to moon. And it's like, that is what created the extra demand and actually made it moon. So I think long-term for a sustainable SLP price, we need Axie burning, because what is SLP used for? What gives SLP value is the fact you can turn it into Axies. So this change to make more of the Axie breeding actually cost SLP instead of most of it being AXS, I think is a really healthy change for the play to earn. But the underlying problem still exists, which is that Axies are getting inflated way more than US dollars are getting inflated. So it's like Axies have an infinite supply cap, and they're like doubling in supply like every couple of months, which is insane and feels unsustainable. So when you're owning an asset that only has more and more of it being created and none of them ever get destroyed, and the total supply,
or used, because in land gameplay, if you actually do the math, right? It actually, like what Jiho says, like we need more Axies for land gameplay. It's a true thing. If we need it, if we had land gameplay, it would make sense, right? It's either use or burn, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but because I think about things with a pretty long-term mindset. I'm like, I own this Axie. 10 years from now, there's going to be billions and billions of these
but
Axies.
they're going to burn it. They're going to burn it. In land gameplay, that's already known. You could go to the 2018 and there's a crafting article on this. So you're going to burn your Axie and get resources, and those resources are going to be used to maybe craft a backpack, to craft a weapon, to craft something in your building. And so
as soon as Axie burning gets implemented, it's really, really bullish. And I think it's bullish not only for the value of Axies, but that is what's going to increase the value of SLP, because now you can create something that has value and isn't just getting inflated forever.
So what I was going to say, like what might actually be an interesting mechanic here to kind of institute is, the Axie burning that you'll have to do for playing the land game is going to be like a voluntary thing. Like if you want this thing, you may have to burn these Axies. Now, what would be more interesting is if they instituted like fails in breeding. So you paid so like you do it, you put your 100, and then hey, dude, these two just didn't they didn't get their game, they didn't get their love faces on, and the breeding failed. Sorry. So no new Axies are created. Maybe you get a portion back of like the AXS, or you get the AXS back, but the SLP's burned. Right, so you get to keep the AXS or most of it or something,
That's a good idea.
The SLP's burned, and then no new Axies are created, and so that would be a mechanic I think that would really help with the fundamentals of the game, because like Jake was saying, even when the land game comes into play and you got to burn Axies to make resources, I mean, people are at that point, like you said, there's just so many Axies that are still going to be like just be pumping out because you kind of have to instituting that as a mechanic that is something you cannot avoid, because it's essentially attached to the first step of that. I think that would help.
I feel like that would be it would be a bad experience though as a breeder, like because
I mean, think about that, like
with the economy.
I get what you're saying, but
we could do it.
It would make it harder. It makes Axies rarer, and it makes Axies rare and SLP rare. It's a good thing. I mean, a bad experience when you say, "Oh, well, it should always work." Well, I mean, if you introduce them like that,
what
maybe
about if you could like fight Axies to the death? Like, what if there was a different mode, different mode where you battle someone else's 3 Axies, and whoever wins, like the winner chooses 2 Axies to take from the other team to bring to their own team, and then 1 Axie to kill on the other team that dies permanently. So every time there was a match, there would be 1 Axie out of the 6 that died permanently. And like the odds, because you only win, you win 2, but you lose all 3 if you lose, are not in your favor with this. But that's the whole point. You need something in the Axie economy that is going to reduce the total number of Axies. But that would be a lot more fun than just having like failed breeds.
No, you're right. So that would be way more fun, but I think people would be way more pissed about, like, when you talk about people like not having a bad experience, I think like losing like your Axie that you got like bred, like, oh my gosh, this is like my special guy. You put him out there and then he dies and you're like, holy shit.
I have the perfect middle ground. I think
I do too.
How about this?
You are in the middle though.
How about this? So instead of your Axies dying permanently, imagine if they implemented some kind of like life force attribute where, say, only in PvP, maybe only in PvP when you battle your Axies, if you lose a certain percentage of life that you need to like on those set of Axies, or somehow that you would need to
replenish it. You can replenish,
and therefore you would be able to battle those Axies.
Leveling too. Trading levels also helps too.
Think about this too. We already have this in breeding. You know, the RNG that you get when you try to breed and you don't get a purity stat that you're trying to get based on recessive genes and stuff. What if you could just burn SLP to increase those odds?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of mechanics I think that they could be instituting
to the max.
There's a lot of mechanics I think they could easily institute that would help with this, and I feel like they're doing the bare ass minimum. To really try. You know what I'm saying? Like they're doing the bare minimum here. Like right now, us 4 in 10 minutes came up with some like 3 or 4 amazing ideas to help with this economy and help it like move forward. I mean, have they not thought about this shit, man? Come on, like we're not all geniuses here. I mean, maybe some of us are, but
let's give them a break. Let's give them a break here.
No breaks. No, damn. If you're gonna be the representation of all NFT play to earn gaming, and you're the standard, you get no damn breaks from Stache.
This is why. Because I seen things on the back end of things, right? Like V2, like I've seen things, right? So the V2 looks pretty. It looks good. It looks good. So we might see, and they've been working hard. They're in the V2. So I'll give them that. I just fucking hate card games at the end of the day. So I think LAN gameplay is the long-term solution. Actually, short-term. Fuck it. Like, December.
It's the solution long-term and short-term. Yeah.
It's everything. But, even leveling up, using SLP to level up, right? Trading your actual Axie with levels in it. Like if you put sweat and tears into your Axie, that changes the game, right? Now you're buying Axie. It's like, oh, this is level this. Now I can get into this, rune inside the adventure. Like trading levels should be back in. Somebody told me it was like back in the day, 2019.
It was like that at one point, because I know every time you even try to transfer, it'll tell you that you'll lose all your levels. Yeah. Which kind of sucks, because in scholar accounts, I would love to be able to donate my Axies right now to my scholars to be able to complete their teams and try to mess around, because I'm not actively playing. But I dare not. There's no way to go through all that PvE again to level my Axies again.
Exactly. You should be able to sell your sweat. But anyways, that's so there's a few things.
Like a lot of solutions there you guys are coming with. So many.
But my perception of the Axie team, like if you think about, like, we're like being really hard on them for like not implementing a lot of this stuff, and it seems like they've been a little bit quiet about like when even some of this stuff will get implemented. It's like these vague.
I think that's a problem.
Yeah, I know that they're like, they recognize that some of the stuff has to happen, but then when you ask them, okay, like, when's it going to happen? It's like, oh, eventually. And it's like,
there was a freaking real bone here, man.
Yeah, like when they were a real scrappy little team and no one was playing the game, it's like we're rooting for them as the underdogs. Like, yeah, you guys can make this, you can do this. But now that they're over 1 million players, the protocol started generating all this money. Now we're starting to think about how we're thinking, like we're changing how we're thinking about the team. And now we're like, you guys have all this money, like this should be happening quicker. You guys just need to learn how to scale this, hire more people. But we don't understand, because we haven't run teams and tried to build teams. Like, it's not as easy to scale as it seems. And just having money doesn't mean there's good people to hire.
But having a lot of money
that are going to do a good job.
But having a lot of money definitely makes it way easier. I'll tell you that right now, guys. So you know what I'm saying? Like that's the first step. So like, if you don't have the money and you're trying to scale, like, damn, good luck.
But here's what I would do. Just like Star Atlas said, hey, we're scaling by next year to 400 people, right? By next year, like by next year or whatever, really have a roadmap for that, and then we'll be chilling. But just like trust us, like I don't like that. I don't like that, because now we're in a different level. You have 1.4 billion in revenue, right? By the end of this year. Like, give us a roadmap of what's going to happen next year. Tell us, okay, we're trying to hire
they don't want to give
150 people in total by mid next year. That is our goal. Hopefully we can get there. Maybe we don't. We're trying to get the best of the best. Give us insight, details.
They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that because on the roadmap for next year, at the end of that roadmap, rug pull.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't think that. But they do need to be more communicative and stuff like that. They do. They really should.
Well, I think the issue is, man, there's a little bit of an element of complacency, man, because like there's no true competitor right now. Like, let's be honest. Like, in terms of what they have,
that, man.
But it's true
that you could play and earn right now.
No, competing head to head. We're not talking about potential.
In terms of like play to earn value, and I think Axie's still the leader, and there's some games that we've talked about and discussed that look like they're going to be true contenders, but just aren't playable and released yet. And I think once those games do start to come out, like
that's when the heat turns up.
When Mirandus and Star Atlas come out, they're gonna swallow Games whole, dude. Like they're just gonna wipe them off the face.
Yeah, but those are long term. I would say Ember Sword. Big time. I would say Illuvium, right? Those are three. We're seeing. I have right here in my phone right now. What's it called? Thetan Arena. Although it's an implemented, we still haven't seen an implemented a game that has already been done, implemented into NFTs and play to earn. That's a model that might work. It might work, and if that works, oh my God! If that works, it's gonna be a flood of games that already made it. And they're gonna just follow the Thetan Arena.
Like the mobile games we were talking about earlier. A polished game that just has the economics and the able to earn from just playing it. And then what's crazy about those too is some of them already have huge user bases. You already have 1 million people that download your app, and all of a sudden you give them crypto to play with.
Yeah, man.
There's your mass
I mean,
adoption.
There's so many different models. We still don't know. But once we see those, man, I think the space is gonna change drastically, and Axie is gonna have to put some real fucking tight pants, right?
Some meat on the bone. They're gonna have to put some meat on the bone.
And I've been trying to like in the in the back end, I guess, been trying to tell them like, bro, like we want to see more updates, and they think it's for hype. It's not for hype. I mean, I've been hyping forever, actually. Like, this is not for extra hype. It's literally like, I don't know. Where's land at? Like, I want to know. When people tell me, oh, Axie sucks, how do I defend myself from that? We don't have any updates. Well, it's true.
It's not a good game. I mean, let's just face it, man. Axie's not a good game.
I can't defend them right now. How do I defend them?
I had fun for a month, and it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not,
it gets over
we
pretty
need
fast.
a good
it's
game.
a card game.
That's why I enjoy things like Blankos. Even Splinterlands, I think is more. There's more strategy, more things going on there. But Blankos, I think, has done a great job, dude. We crushed and had a great time playing Light Night on the stream the other last week, man. And they've put a lot of work into that, and so there's a lot out there. Yeah, I mean, and then Spider Tanks. I was playing the beta. I know, Jake, you played some of that beta when they had it out last week, and I had a blast playing that game, and I couldn't stop playing that damn game, dude. So like, we're really close, I think, honestly, to having a game that's really actually super fun, addictive, and has the economy.
I played it.
Spider Tanks is coming this year. Yeah, it's
very fun, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, let's who knows, man? We might see it come out sooner than later. And I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think too. Like in terms of the actual crypto markets. I know we're talking about the metaverse, but like things, I don't know. Price action's been a little funny recently, man. Like, do you think this is all gonna kind of stay the same if the whole market crashes? You know what I mean? Like, will we be set back, or will games continue to develop, or are we going to see layoffs? You know what I mean?
So pullbacks are inevitable. They're going to happen, and I cannot tell you what's going to happen in the short term. I have no freaking idea. But that's why I try to pick projects.
Bullish on pullbacks. Bullish.
Yeah, but I'm like, if you pick good projects with good teams that are building actually fun experiences, like their coins are going to make it long term. Like their NFTs are going to retain value long term.
Right. That's not going to be affected by the markets, man. I mean,
the coin, yes, but the game
coin a little bit, right? But
yeah. Like, well, and in the short term, like there's going to be pullbacks, but those are opportunities to like buy. So like, honestly, if you're bullish that Axie Infinity is going to implement Battles version 2, they're going to implement Lunacia, they're going to implement Axie burning, then now is probably the time to be buying up these Axies off the marketplace when they're super cheap and you can get SLP for almost nothing. Like, if you're really bullish on something, when it's down, that's the time to double down.
And that's a natural cycle that games already were going through before crypto even existed. You know, you think about a game, it comes out, it's got a lot of hype, right? And then, you know, a bunch of people are playing, and then after, 6 months, you have a population that is no longer increasing. Then, you're maintaining maybe a couple of blips here and there, and then, then you start. Then you see the kind of this curve of adoption, and people start going to, because another big game came out, and then that game releases like their next version, and everyone comes back because they want to play it again, and it spikes back up. So I mean, games already have that kind of experience, I think, doing like weathering those storms, understanding that is part of the cycle. So having the token part of it also be thrown in there, I think that they're more equipped to handling those bear and bull market cycles than any kind of industry out there.
Have y'all seen the actual the ebbs and flows of it all regardless of these market pullbacks like we've seen recently? Like when Bitcoin dropped, Axie dropped, but Axie's been up and down recently based on a lot of announcements and stuff like that too. I didn't see Star Atlas move. Like Polis and Atlas tokens didn't do anything during this big old Bitcoin dump that happened the other day. Polis didn't move, man.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's locked, right? There's a lock-in period, and on top of that, there's a lot of fucking cash behind that, right? Yeah. Like people like Sam or whatever, they have their strategy. That's just not going down, bro. Fuck that. We'll pump that shit until the whole thing.
I didn't think about the lock too. You're right. Yeah, that could have a lot.
You can't dump it. You could dump a few.
You could dump some.
But So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like there's more people that have at least bought into some of these other higher market cap coins, obviously, than Atlas and Polis. You know what I mean? That's a relatively new coin, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I think are we running out of time, or do we got time, or we're running out of time here, folks? So let's wrap it up. All you guys watching out there, thank you for joining us, man. Another Around the Metaverse. Stache, Zuljin, Cagy, Jake, thank you for being here, man. Another great Monday. You guys watching out there, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe, and check out all of these guys' channels if you want to stay up to date and get that sweet alpha, man, and get those gains. We bring it to you every day, and we very rarely do you wrong. So stick with us. Stick with us, man, and we're all going to the moon. And see you next Monday for another Around the Metaverse. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Peace.